And let's begin Rivalry Week. Let's go back to Black Friday because a lot of things took place on Black Friday. But as you can see here, 8 overtimes between Georgia Tech and UGA. We're going to talk about that game a little more in depth. Then we head to Saturday, number 8, Tennessee. They dropped 14 straight points to Vanderbilt to start the game, and then they roped off a 36-9 run the rest of the way to beat. They filled the rivalries up in Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee at that. 36-23. Good win for the Volunteers to keep themselves in the playoff contention spots. Speaking playoff contention spots, unlike Tennessee, who most likely is already in the playoffs, going to Clemson, South Carolina, the ACC's Death Valley, where the Clemson Tigers ranked 12 in the country, was taking on 15 ranked South Carolina in a battle for South Carolina. No North sales. Oh my gosh. On third, I believe it was 3rd and 16, if I remember correctly. 3rd and 16, tricking down to about a minute and 20 seconds left. He scampers for a 20-yard touchdown run. And he gave the South Carolina Gamecocks the road victory 17-14 over the Fighting Dabbles of Clemson Tigers. Man, that has to hurt. A third loss by Dabo Sweeney in the season. Man, that is something you just don't see. 9-3 are the Clemson Tigers, the same record as South Carolina. How would this loss affect the Clemson Tigers going into championship week and the CLP rankings? We shall see. But this going in depth with the Georgia Bulldogs winning 44-42 over Georgia Tech. Clean old-fashioned hate between these two over the hedges in Athens, Georgia. Man, at one point, you thought Georgia was done for. The Yellow Jackets jumped out to a 17-0 lead. It was 17-0 at halftime. Georgia managed to put up 6 points, so it's 17-6 going to the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden, the Bulldogs got the offense rolling. Defense stepped up. Georgia Tech had a hard time moving the ball. They're 21-10 fourth quarter. And the Bulldogs, the Georgia Bulldogs, ranked 7 in the nation, tied the game up and sent it to overtime. And then overtime was ridiculous. Not one, not two, not three, 8 overtimes. A lot of 2-point conversion tries, a lot of failures, and then it's just like, you know what? Let's just run the football in. Georgia wants the football in with Nathan Frazier. Georgia Tech tries to do the same thing with King. Doesn't work. 42-44. Bulldogs win at home. And man, talk about this. Look at these statistics. 563 yards of offense from the Yellow Jackets. 405 yards from the Bulldogs. We are talking 968 yards of total offense between the two teams. Georgia Tech held the ball for 15 more minutes than the Bulldogs, but they came up on the short end. It was a nice embrace between the head coaches after this game. It was a hard-fought game. The game ended past midnight. I watched it. We went past midnight, and I say it'll be funny if this game goes past midnight and it went past midnight. Great game. Very interesting game to watch, man. Especially when I was around family, you know, my mom, my sister, they both are Bulldog fans. My brother and I, we Gator fans, but we love good football. So we got to watch good football. So shout out to the Bulldogs. Get a nice dub. A very nice dub. King, 300 yards passing, 110 yards rushing. He accounted for 413 yards of total offense by himself and 5 total touchdowns. Just wasn't enough. Carson Beck, almost 300 yards passing with 5 touchdown passes. Nathan Frazier, 50 yards rushing with the game-tying touchdown. He had the game-tying touchdown that helped send the game into overtime. Very good game, man. I cannot be disappointed on how that game went. It was very interesting. But that was on Black Friday. We had a lot going on Saturday, though. As you see here, Michigan, Ohio State renewed their rivals in the game. Well, I'm going to get to that. That's my main focus for this point from these 3 games. But Notre Dame with the whole world against them, looking for the Trojans to win the Jewel Shillelagh from the Fighting Irish. It was not meant to be. 49-35. It took late in the second half, in the fourth quarter, for the Fighting Irish to pull away from the Trojans to take siege of the Jewish Shillelagh, in which they did. And with that win, the Fighting Irish have put themselves squarely in the college football playoffs. And then we had the Iron Bowl. Alabama trying to dust themselves off on a devastating ass whipping that they took in Norman, Oklahoma, by the tune of 24-3 by the Oklahoma Sooners. Against another upsetting-minded team, a team that was coming off an upset of Texas A&M, the Auburn Tigers down in Jordan-Hare. So from Jordan-Hare to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to Bryant-Denny Stadium at Nick Saban Field. Jalen Merrill does it again on the ground running, and he takes down the Auburn Tigers 28-14. To the point where Hugh Freeze says, I hope this is the last time I get to see you because I'm sick and tired of losing to you. But that wasn't the main thing. Here was the main thing. As a 23-point underdog, the Michigan Wolverines, the reigning defending national champions, not looking like national champions, had a terrible season. They still went to the horseshoe and they still beat the number 2 team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes, 13-10. That's right, 13-10. 235 yards. I wonder how many of those yards was actually rushing and not just passing, because they couldn't pass. Ohio State 252. Both teams had 2 turnovers. Michigan controlled the ball for almost 7 whole minutes more than the Buckeyes in their own stadium. That is the 4th straight win for the Michigan Wolverines of Ohio State. Ryan Day cannot beat the Michigan Wolverines. Now, how far does this loss hurt the Ohio State Buckeyes? To most people, it doesn't hurt them that much because they'll still be in the playoffs. But if they're still in the playoffs, what do they need to do? Because there's a lot of people in the Buckeye Nation looking at Ryan Day and they trying to tell you that you're fired. You need to go. How the hell you can't beat this Michigan Wolverines team? All that money they be having eyeing now, all this money, $20 million in IAL money to these players, to this roster. And you still can't beat Michigan. Michigan's on a down year. They are literally one-dimensional. They can't throw the ball to save their darn school's life. And you still lose to this team, especially in our building, in our stadium, the horseshoe. Ryan Day got to be feeling it. And if he's not feeling it, I don't know what to tell you. But 4th straight loss to the Michigan Wolverines when you just thought it was meant to be for Ohio State to finally win this game. And they couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. I don't know what to tell. I don't know. I have no idea. Because you still can't beat Michigan. After all this time, you can't beat Michigan. Look at it. Warner, the quarterback for Michigan, only passed for 62 yards. 62 yards. Now I need to go and look at the 62 yards of passing for Michigan. 62, and he threw 2 picks. 2 picks. And he's the victorious quarterback. But Will Howard here, 175 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 picks as well. Michigan ran the ball 41 times for 173 yards. They was averaging 4.2 yards a carry in this game. That is ridiculous. And Mullins, he just one of those guys. 32 carries, 116, a touchdown. You can't say that nothing about it. But if I'm looking at it, Ohio State, the home team, the Scarlet and Gray, in front of their home fans, the Buckeye Nation, 26 carries for 77 yards. 3 yards a carry. 3. That is the Ohio State Buckeyes we're talking about. As you can see Jenkins. He had 12 carries for 46 yards. That was the leading rusher. Trevion Henderson, who we thought was going to be a stud this year, the dude that's going to run over everybody, being contested for the Heisman, like actually Genty from the Boise State. 10 carries, 21 yards. 10 carries for 21 yards. And the other 10 yards, because there's 67 between Jerkins and Henderson. That's Will Howard with 4 carries and 10 yards. So you telling me the Ohio State Buckeyes can rush for a total of 77 yards, and Michigan runs for 173 yards. They almost outran you by a whole 100 yards. A whole football field worth of running the ball better than you, Ohio State. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Y'all really should be ashamed of yourselves. The game that everybody circles on the calendar. What if you at Michigan? What if you at Ohio State? The game where you looked at, you said, we lost to this team 3 times in a row. They are the reigning defending national champions. They smoked us in their own building and they won that championship. Now they don't have the players that they had to smoke us when they won that championship. They have a whole different coaching crew. They have a whole different roster. We should be able to beat them, and it's in our own building. Wrong. They out physical you. They out mental you, and they put 13 on the board, and they took you down to 10. They got the dub, you didn't, and you want to have a fight after the game, which I'll get to later on in the show. Well, later on in this segment. But Ohio State and Ryan Day, y'all should be ashamed of yourself to lose to this Michigan Wolverines team, where everybody and their grandma, their grandpa, their uncles, their aunties, their cousins, their sisters, their brothers, the mothers, the fathers, the children, all knew. Only thing Michigan do is run the damn football because they can't pass worth the damn. And yet they were still able to beat you. Damn. Moving on. Oh. The Miami Hurricanes went to the Dome to take on the Syracuse Orangemen. We're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk about that game. The Florida Gators, Billy Napier. Good job, sir. Good job, sir. You finished the deal. You went up to Tallahassee. It was a struggle. It was ugly at first, but you went up to Tallahassee and you finished the job. You came out of there 7-5. I appreciate you. You did not let those 2 back-to-back upsets over LSU and Ole Miss go to waste by losing to Florida State. You went up to Tallahassee, you handled business, and you came back home with it up. Proud of you, Billy Napier. Can't wait to see what you do next year. Honestly, I don't even care about the bowl game. I'm just going to be honest. Now, am I going to watch the bowl game? If I'm able to watch it, yes, I'm going to watch it because that is my team. But for me, I don't even care about the bowl game no more. Billy Napier did his job. Billy Napier did a hell of a job this year. That man went 7-5 with one of the hardest schedules in college football. Good job, sir. Very good. And you had, man, going into this season, it was the number one schedule. The number one toughest schedule going into the season. That man came out of that schedule 7-5. We lost our starting quarterback to an ACL injury. We lost DJ Ladway in the biggest game of the season against Georgia when we had them down. He gets hurt. Georgia survives. And then we got our ass whooped by Texas. Then we had to stay the face down LSU, Ole Miss. Both teams fighting for a chance to get into the SEC championship game and a playoff spot. We ended both of their chances right there in the swamp. Billy Napier, hell of a job. Thank you. Speaking of getting to a championship game, Iowa State, 18th ranked in the nation, took down 24th ranked the Kansas State Wildcats 29-21. Great win by Iowa State. And with that win, Iowa State is in the Big 12 championship. Iowa State. Ranked 6th in the Big 12 media. Ranked 6th. It was ranked 6th to get to the Big 12 championship. Here they are. Who they facing is even more impressive because they was picked. I think they was picked dead last, if I remember correctly. But we'll get there. Let's talk about first one, but my bad. But let's talk about this game here. Let's go to the Dome of New York. Syracuse, that is. Syracuse Orangemen hosting 6th-ranked Miami Hurricanes. Um, maybe those who are listening or who are watching, if you so kindly comment your thoughts on this game. But I just want to know, how in the vital blue yellow belly hell did Miami lose this game? Now that's a rhetorical question because I know how they lost because I actually watched the game. I watched the game with my other brother being mad all over the place that's watching this Miami defense get shredded to bits by the Orange men left and right. It was very, very remarkable. I mean, Kyle McCoy put on a show. I'm gonna get to his stats in a bit, but he put on a show. Ken Ward did his thing for some part of the game, but Syracuse 42, Miami 38. The ramification of this loss for the Miami Hurricanes has been felt. It was felt on Saturday for obvious reasons, and it was felt last night. We'll talk about that when I get to the rankings, but man, you jumped out to a 21-0 lead if you're the Hurricanes. You cannot lose that game. You knew you had to win the game because you needed a win to get to the ACC championship game. 2, you jumped out to a 21-0 lead, and you should know. Let's put our foot on their neck. Let's give them the knockout blow, which you didn't do. You put up 21 points, then you let them score 21 points right back. So now we went from 21-0 early in the second quarter to a 21-21 just starting the second half. Just to start the second half. Because Syracuse came out and 3 plays scored on you to tie the game up at 21. And there was deep shots they were taking. They came out firing deep shots at y'all, and it worked. You respond, you make it 28-21, and then all of a sudden, Syracuse has started rolling. And the Miami defense couldn't stop a damn nosebleed if they had a chance. They literally couldn't stop a nose. That's how bad the Miami defense is. The Miami defense has let the Miami Hurricanes down. Now I'm gonna give you this tidbit because I ain't get to the rankings yet. People want to get mad at the CFP committee for doing what they did, but hey, is anybody gonna put blame on the Miami Hurricanes defense here? You went from being a 21-0 3 minutes into the second quarter, and from that point forward, you gave up 42 points. 42 points. So in the first, let me see, in the first 18 minutes, you had a 21-0 lead. 21-0. Within the last 42 minutes, you gave up 42 points. They pretty much scored a point for every minute that came off the board. That is horrific. That is terrible, Miami. What y'all did on defense was horrific. They literally said, we can come out here and we can bomb these dudes in the second half. And that's what they bombed you in the second half. They was doing deep shots. They did not care. That's how bad it was. Look at these numbers. Miami Hurricanes, 503 of total yards. Syracuse, 479. We're talking 982 yards of total offense. 1 turnover on each side. First downs about even with +1 going to Syracuse. Time of possession, Miami had the ball barely over 2 minutes longer than Syracuse. Look at Cam Ward's numbers. 25 of 36, 349, 2 touchdowns. Martinez had 10 carries with 84 yards on a touchdown. Restrepo, the wide receiver, 9 catches, 148 yards and a touchdown. But Kyle McCoy, 26 for 36, 380 and 3 touchdowns. Allen had 22 carries for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns. Remember the Virginia Tech game? I'm talking to my Hurricane fans. You remember the Virginia Tech game? You remember the Cal game, the California game? Mm-hmm. You remember all these close wins that you had when you should have lost? Then you got caught by Georgia Tech, and then you got caught by Syracuse. And them 2 losses right there kicked you out of the ACC championship game. Those 2 losses. Them 2 right there. Because you play against teams that can also put up points as well. and your defense is so pictured that they can't stop the other opposing teams off it. And Cam Ward can't keep winning shootouts. Say it again. Cam Ward cannot keep winning shootouts, as you just saw. The defense is terrible. Miami suffered. I'm just gonna keep it real. With Miami defense being so terrible, the Hurricanes suffer as a whole. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's got to be said. And then finally, the spotlight game of the week takes us to Cal Field. College Station down in Texas. 20th ranked Aggies hosting third ranked Longhorns in a battle that has not been happening for 13. I think they said 13 years. Bullish you ugly game. But I'm pretty sure my friends Cole Johnson and Megan Price, they don't care. 17-7 is the final score as the Longhorns win. And the Longhorns have put themselves in the ACC championship game in year one as members of the Southeastern Conference. Tennessee them had a chance to go to their first ever conference game. They won't be going it this year. Ugly game. It's amazing to me that you can have 461 total yards of offense going to put up 17 points, but you had 2 turnovers, so that explains that. 2 turnovers for the Aggies as well. 248 yards, they couldn't do nothing. That defense of the Longhorns was stifling the Aggies, just stifling them. Almost 10 minutes of time possession for the Longhorns. Jeez. Almost 10 whole minutes better than the Aggies. Say it, boy, and she ugly. Quinn Ewers on the 218 passing yards, a touchdown and interception. Marcel Reese for the A&M side, 146 yards in the interception. Texas could run the ball. 186 yards on 33 carries. They was running the ball. That's what they did. They definitely should control the clock. Bowling shoe ugly. Works in Texas' favor because they built for it like that. They got the dub. They going to the ACC championship game. There's nothing more I can say about that. But before we get out of here, unlike Texas and Texas A&M, it was also fight day during rivalry week. As you can see here at the top, the Michigan Wolverines wanted to plant the flag on the Buckeyes logo. Ohio State, they had more fight here than they had for the 60 minutes that they played Michigan. You had 60 minutes to put down an inferior team, and you did. But you want to fight after the game. Well, you can call it respect. You got to have some dignity, something like that, because you can't allow the visiting team to plant the flag on your field and all that stuff. Well, you had 60 minutes to not let them do it. And what? They put their foot up your ass. Same thing with North Carolina State, North Carolina. Matt Down went out with an L to North Carolina State. They tried to do the same thing. A fight broke out in North Carolina. And also in Tallahassee. The Gators won. They wanted to put the flag down on Florida State's logo. Florida State didn't like it. A 2-10 team. Billy Napier didn't know what was happening, but Martinville was going off. I don't know why he was going on, because guess what? You're the one to blame for what happened to Florida State, sir. If we want to keep it a buck. You remember last year when y'all got robbed because you didn't have Jordan Travis? If we're going to keep it real, right? Because you didn't have Jordan Travis, you got robbed to be in the college football playoff. Alabama got in instead. So you decided not to play your players in the Orange Bowl against the Georgia Bulldogs, who felt the same way as you, that they was robbed because they only lost one game, was to Alabama. They should have been in the playoffs to defend their national championship, but they did. So, hey, Kirby Smart said, we going to play our players. Florida State might know well, so we ain't playing our players. You got your ass whooped down in Miami in the Orange Bowl. It was damn near as worse as what Georgia did to TCU when they went back-to-back. And all of a sudden, you came in this season, you took an L to Georgia Tech right out the gate, over in Dublin, Ireland. Then you came home and got your ass whipped on Labor Day by Boston College. And all of a sudden, the snowball effect kept going. It just kept going downhill from there to a 2-10 season. 2-10. But now you want to show fight. Last game of the season, you ain't going to the damn bowl game. Your team sucks. Your team getting your ass whooped each and every week. Notre Dame beat that ass. Miami beat that ass. I already talked about Boston College. I already talked about Georgia Tech beating that ass. We just keep going down the list. The only team that you actually beat was Cal in the ACC. That's the only ACC win you have. The only other win you got was Charles and Southern, and you finally felt good about that game. But every other game on that side, you got your ass whooped. Florida beat you by 20. But you're mad that a Florida kid is planting the flag. Now I get it. It's your home stadium, but there was no fighting last year when y'all was taking up grass from our end zone. Was there? Remind me. I didn't see any fighting. I ain't seen any Florida guys fighting when y'all was taking grass off the field in our end zone on our side on the swamp. We ain't seen no fighting, but you pissed. But now you mad. Now you really want to fight. You got your ass whooped. Take it like a man. Ohio State, you got your ass whooped by a 23-point underdog in your own building. You see this here? You see the home team feels embarrassed. This is what happens when you get embarrassed. When you get embarrassed, you want to fight. Instead of admitting you got embarrassed, instead of taking the embarrassment because you put yourself in the embarrassment position. Ohio State, Florida State, North Carolina. North Carolina, your season was doomed when you lost to James Madison in that high scoring affair that you gave up 70 damn points to. That's why Mike Brown got fired. We're going to see what happened to Ryan Day, but Ryan Day has a reprieve because he's going to be in the playoffs. Mike Noel, you might come back. I don't know how Florida State is going to end. They might let you come back. But a 2-10 season after you went undefeated, that is a huge drop-off, sir. I don't want to hear about he had all new players. That's what recruiting is for. You recruit your ass off so you can replenish the talent that you're losing. Alabama and Nick Saban, do I need to remind anybody? How about Urban Meyer when he was with Florida? Or even when he was at Ohio State? You know how to recruit. What about Kirby Smart? That man lost one game last year. Didn't make the playoffs. Guess what? He had a new roster. He came back, and guess what? We still gonna fight, and they in the ACC champion. They in the SEC championship game as we speak. Mike Noel, what are you doing? How is your recruiting things going? Because if you can't recruit, your ass is in trouble. That's what happened to you this season. You went to Ireland, you got your ass whooped. You came back home for Labor Day, you got your ass whooped. And it's been an ass whooping ever since, except for Cal and Charleston Southern, the only two games that you won. Notre Dame whooped that ass. Miami whooped that ass. I don't know if you played Clemson, but if I believe you did play Clemson, they whooped that ass. Florida whooped that ass. So there's nothing for you to hang your hat on. So Ryan Day, Mike Noel, y'all on the hot seat, especially Ryan Day because he lost to Michigan for a 4th straight year. Matt Brown's already out. Fight Day during rivalry week. And as for me, another 73 record. I didn't. Yeah, that Ohio State got me. Miami got me. Well, you know, I took a stab. You know, it was Kansas State, Iowa State. I took a swing for. I took Kansas State, didn't work out. But overall, 73. My overall record 91-49 through 140 games. Pick 100. I literally picked 140 games this year. Jeez Louise. I might keep this going next year because I like this. 140 games picked. I got 191 of them. That is a 65 win percentage that I have here. I can say I feel pretty good. Wish I was in the 70s, but hey, can't win them all. It's all good. So, hey, I'm going to take that with the victory that I am. 65% win percentage. I'm not going to be mad at it. So it is what it is. And guess what? That would do for your Gridiron Roundup.